Welcome everyone to the July 2024 HOD quarterly meeting. We have a jam-packed agenda for today, so I'm going to go ahead and get us started off by introducing Rosie, our delegate from New York, who's going to do our DE&I moment for today.
Thank you. So my DE&I moment today is about invisible disabilities, which can be things like mental illness, neurological disabilities, autoimmune disorders, cognitive dysfunction, and chronic fatigue. And comes up for me today because tropical storm, or the remnants thereof, of Beryl have decided to visit Buffalo today. My phone keeps telling me that there's tornadoes touching down 20 miles from here. This morning, my body decided to remind me that I have lupus, and it's a chronic illness, and all of my joints were swollen this morning, and to the point that I couldn't do clasps or buttons or anything else. So I got dressed with the clothes that I could get on today. But in college, it meant that I had a parking pass that said I was disabled. And everyone would look at me because here I am. I don't have a wheelchair. I don't have crutches. And I'd be parking in those disability parking spots with my little hang tag. Just being aware that not all disabilities are obvious to those that are looking in from the outside, and being understanding of others. So that's my DE&I spotlight for today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That really resonates with me because I'm similar. I also have an autoimmune that is invisible. So I feel you big time on that one, Rosie. Thank you for talking about that today.
Yep.
All right. So I will real quick and do some speaker updates. I'm going to attempt to turn on my camera for this. If I get kicked out. Okay. See, now this is also weird because I have the agenda up here and I'm staring down here. Okay. So hopefully I don't get kicked out, but if I do, I apologize. Welcome everyone. Very excited. There is a lot of really awesome information in store for you guys today over the next couple hours. We're going to have our great committee and work group updates. We're going to have updates from the Board of Trustees and the CLC as well. And my main update for you guys right now is WEFTEC. So WEFTEC is right around the corner, October 5th. That will be the House of Delegates meeting. That is the Saturday kind of before the big WEFTEC event starts. We generally start our meeting at like 8:30 in the morning, and we will have opportunities to hear from our speaker-elect. We will have some sort of great networking and collaborating activity, a volunteer activity with the CLC. We're going to be packing laundry kits for people staying at the Ronald McDonald House in New Orleans, which is very exciting. On Sunday, we will also be having a joint activity with the CLC that is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm very excited about it, this upcoming one this year. So please, please, please go ahead, make your reservations, get your hotels, book your flights, all the great stuff for WEFTEC. And the Super Saver registration closes Friday. So definitely keep that in mind as you're planning your WEFTEC trip. We're very excited. That will be the next time that we all get together in person. So just a wonderful, wonderful event. I hope to see everyone there. And another thing, we wrapped up, and I know they're going to talk about it in a little bit, but we did wrap up our in-person WEFMAXs that were a massive success. And we do have our virtual WEFMAX coming up beginning of August 2nd. Someone corrects me if that's right or wrong. Where's Lee when I need her?
No, it's August 1st.
Okay, August 1st. See, I keep messing that up. August 1st. Thank you, Lee. So definitely join that awesome event as well. And then that will conclude our WEFMAX season for the year. I am going to give Bill a few minutes to hop on real quick and see if he has any updates for you guys as well.
Hey, everybody. I am working on my work groups. And number one, we're waiting until we make selections. We had 30 wonderful candidates who have applied for committees. And so we're looking at those now, and we're looking at speaker-elect nominations. But I wanted to wait until after the committees are chosen so we'll know who's available. But if you would like to be in leadership position, and if you have not taken an opportunity up to this point to step up and say you want to be in a leadership position, I encourage you to get in touch with me and let me know that you would be interested in being a chair or a co-chair of one of the work groups. So I would gauge some interest. Secondly, one of the things that we're looking at, I got somebody I need to mute here. Somebody's on the. All right, I just muted somebody. All right, so we want to look at potentially how many people are from Canada or have interest in Canada. Raise your hand and let's see how many we get with a raised hand on Canada. I got 1, 2, anybody else interest in Canada? We're looking at water advocacy. And if there's interest in Canada for water advocacy, that's something that we're exploring perhaps as a task force. That would be something that we would look at. It may be a subsidiary or an ad hoc committee with the water advocacy group. And Christiana is on the call. I'm sure Peter's probably on here as well. But that's just something we're exploring. So I see a few hands raised. It has been brought to our attention that we're not giving all the love to Canada, who is our second biggest constituency in WEF. So we're looking at that, looking at a lot of other things. But other than that, Alexia, I'm good. Thank you for letting me have an opportunity.
Yep, absolutely. Well, in trying to keep us on track, I think I have just a couple more minutes. I do want to say that very much looking forward to being with all of you guys at WEFTEC. A couple other quick things. We will have our business meeting that will take place in September. We're going to get that scheduled on the books and send out an invite for you guys. That will be a fully virtual meeting where we kind of go through all of the business side of what the House of Delegates has to do. So we will confirm trustees. We will confirm any bylaw changes as they come up, all that good stuff. So that information will come out to you guys soon. And Kelsey, I'm going to give you the floor for just a couple minutes. Do you have anything to add?
Nothing to add from me. I have a coworker here with me today.
I was going to say, I hope you're showing her.
Yes, here she is. Here's my Evelyn. No, nothing to add from me. I would just reiterate what Alexi said, be planning for WEFTEC, plan to get in on Friday and be there for all of Saturday. And then we will there's the MA Leaders Forum on Sunday morning, followed by the joint activity with the CLC. So more information will be coming soon, more details. But in the meantime, if you have questions about timing or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to help you however I can. And also just keep an eye on your emails for more information coming out in the coming months on work groups and signups and all things related to planning for WEFTEC in the next year. So looking forward to WEFTEC. I can hardly believe we're in July and it's going to be here before we know it. And yeah, looking forward to seeing all of you in person in New Orleans.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. So now I am going to turn it over to Diego. I believe I saw him hop on for a Board of Trustee updates.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. I'm very happy to report from the board that we have a brand new executive director. And so next week, this new executive director will start. And we'll start with our board meeting. So the big news that we have a new executive director, but not much else because the board meeting has yet to happen. And the July board meeting is when we discuss the slate of nominees to bring to the House for the next round of board members that will follow me, as I am an outgoing board member at the end of WEFTEC. And we will have the trustees and the new vice president. So all of those will be discussed and presented to the House, I suppose, in the summer. I think there's an August meeting, if I remember correctly, the schedule. But next week is when it's discussed at the board. And beside this, I don't have much else from the board other than praise for the leadership activities that I've witnessed firsthand and reported to the board for the House. I really am. I was very impressed to see how much energy there was there to think about strategically what the House should do, how it should promote itself, how it should be more visible and more understandable by people like me who didn't understand it very much until 2 or 3 years ago. And so there's plenty of opportunities for engagement, and I think you're right. Your heart is in the right place, but at the same time, there is good strategy, and I think that's really good. And this said, unfortunately, today I cannot stay for the rest of the call, but I noticed that Tracy and Keith are on the call. So if there are any other comments later on that the board could chime in and provide any feedback, I'm sure they will do a great job.
Thank you, Diego. And I will go ahead now and invite any of the Board of Trustee members who are on our call today, if you guys have any extra comments you would like to say.
Nothing further for me. Diego does a great job, so thanks.
Wonderful. Well, we really appreciate your all's presence with us during our quarterly meetings. It's really invaluable. So thank you all very much. Thank you, Diego. Now I'm going to invite Ian Fife from the CLC to come on and give us an update about our Community Leadership Council. Ian, are you around? Okay. We can come back to him if he hops back on. Kelsey, let's keep an eye out, okay?
Yep, got it.
Awesome, thank you. And then, so now then, is Carolyn on?
Yes. Hello,
Okay.
guys. How are you?
Fantastic. So everyone, with us today, we have Carolyn Klunder. She is with the WEF Students and Young Professionals community, and we invited her to come and join our House of Delegates meeting today and pretty much give us a discussion, talk to us about what their community is doing, and then hopefully we can all come up with ways that the HOD can help support. And she's here to answer any questions that you have. So I'm going to give the floor over to Carolyn. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So one main thing that I wanted to bring up and let the HOD know is that we started an effort to communicate with all YPs across all the different states and all the different MAs and get them in one room so they can talk and collaborate and learn from each other. So we're starting a quarterly meeting. We had our first one that was very successful, and it was just a general forum where we hosted and asked them a couple questions about what are some things that they're struggling with, one of them being recruiting, and then we opened the floor to let the MAs talk about what they have done to overcome those challenges. And it was really well received, pretty well attended, but we would like to grow this effort. So we're asking the HOD to talk to their young professional chairs and get them connected into this quarterly meeting so that they can learn from each other and grow, and so that all of these MAs can have very successful YP communities. And then additionally, I just wanted to let you guys know about all the events that are happening at WEFTEC and just encourage you to come join us. And if you're not able to come, then to have other people from your MA join us. So starting off with the Friday is Waterpalooza. So that's an event that we host at a local school where we teach the students about all things water, what happens when you flush, things like that. It's a very endearing time. And then I'm sure, as you guys all know, we have the service project on Saturday, and we will be likely building another bio garden. And then Monday we have our meeting, which is typically in the morning, and then we will have our networking event in the evening. The networking event is for YPs, but we really encourage anyone to come. It's always a good time, typically as karaoke, and is very, very lively. Do I have any questions?
Yep. Any questions for Carolyn?
I had one. So
Yes.
what media outlet are you using to reach out to the MAs? Are you using email, using social media? What are you doing?
That's a great question. So Nick put together a list of all the MAs and who is either the chair or vice chair. I believe he found all but 4.
Oh, wow.
And so then, yeah. So he reached out to everybody pretty much through LinkedIn and through connections that we have within our SYPC group to be able to find and locate the chairs. And then we sent out an email with a link to a Teams meeting.
Nice. Very good.
Okay. Any other questions? Carolyn, can you tell us a little bit more about Waterpalooza and the service project? And if there's any ways, I know the service project happens during our HOD meeting, but maybe some of our delegates on here have YPs at their MAs that, could come in or maybe work on that next year. And then can you also talk a little bit more about maybe the Springboard program and everything so people can start planning that for winter?
Yes, absolutely. So are you talking about like logistics for where Waterpalooza is?
Yeah, just a little bit more info on that. Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. So this year we are hosting it at St. Mary's Academy in New Orleans, and it's pre-K through, it's elementary school, so pre-K through 4th grade. We are looking for sponsorship, so if you're not able to attend, you can support us in other ways as well. And so there will be different booths at this event where the students will go around to the different booths, and each booth will have a different topic that is typically sponsored by a company like, I don't know, any of the companies can really do it, obviously. And they just pick a topic and they teach the students about it. Each session is probably about 5 minutes. They're really, really short. And then the students move on to another booth, and we do it per grade. So the students come in each grade and they get to go to about 5-10 booths, and then they move on. We have had Niles the alligator come, which has been a huge hit with the students. Last year, they even did a dunking contest, which was also really well received. So we partner with the parents at the school as well to kind of help us run the program. And yeah, it's an all-day event, and it's a ton of fun and very, very rewarding.
And that's on Friday, isn't it, Carolyn?
Correct. Yes. If you'd like, sorry, I just found the flyer. If I'm able to share my screen, I can share it with you guys real quick. So yes, it is the Friday before WEFTEC. This is Niles the alligator. This is kind of an example of one of the booths here. And we are looking for sponsors. We're looking for the first 6. I can send this out as well.
Yeah, that would be great. Or drop it in the chat, whatever is easier for you guys.
Actually, that's related to a comment that's in the chat, which was from Laura Oakes. She is chair of the House Communications Committee. And so she just put that if you want anything shared with the House, let us know, and we can post on our LinkedIn page as well as WEF Unity to get it out to anyone who might not be on the call today.
Awesome.
Wonderful. And then a little bit about the Springboard program. I know I keep putting you on the spot.
No, not a problem. Yes. So, did I freeze? I apologize. Am I still there? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Yes. So the Springboard program is an application-based program where we have applicants fill out an application and tell us a little bit about what their interests are. And we select about, I believe it's 12 applicants come, and WEF pays for them to come to the winter meeting where they get to sit in on the HOD meeting, and they get to shadow a member of the program committee and get to sit in on the reviewing of or the putting together of WEFTEC. I know that each community kind of, or each program committee does it a little differently. Oh, I'm sorry. Did someone have a question? And they get to kind of watch that happen. They also get to review, workshops as well. And yeah, I think that's about it. Yes. Sorry, Kara?
Carolyn, I totally did not mean to throw you off. How much time commitment is associated with like the Springboard program? Because I think it's a really great program. I just love to see sort of like how many like hours you might associate with that so that folks can get a good chance to ask their employers for that.
That's an awesome question. Great question. In terms of beforehand and afterwards, there is not much of a time commitment. I think we've got maybe 1 or 2 meetings beforehand. Depending on the program committee, the different like sections of them, they might allow them to review abstracts ahead of time, where that's something we've been working on so that they, the springboarders aren't totally bombarded when they get there. So pretty small time commitment ahead of time. And then it's about a 2-day event. So that is full days that they will not be able to be at the office. So the first day is a travel day for the first half typically. And then meetings in the second day, the meetings in the second half of the first day, and then meetings all day the second day, and then they all fly out either that evening or later that day. So in terms of being at the only real time commitment is being at winter meeting.
Awesome. Thanks for clarifying.
Yes, of course. And it is something that is sponsored by WEF, so they do not need to request any funding from their employer, just simply the time off. Great question. Thank you. Any other questions?
All right, wonderful. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And Carolyn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course.
Really appreciate it.
Of course. And I will follow up with more information as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I am now going to turn it over to Bill for the new Delegate Spotlight.
All right. Is Tina on the line?
Yes, I am here.
Awesome. So I am not near as fast or as furious as Alexi. So I'm going to do the best I can to get these questions out in the fast and furious format. So let's go with the first one. What's your favorite color or sports team?
So I was actually born in Tuscaloosa and I went to University of Alabama. So I would say Crimson and Roll Tide, Alabama.
Roll Tide. All right. Next, what's your favorite food or dessert?
I love French fries and ketchup, but I don't like tomatoes.
I don't like tomatoes either, and I love ketchup. So that's good.
Yeah, there we go.
We have something in common.
Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite drink? Now that could be coffee, tea, or bourbon or whatever, just saying.
Something that was like kind of on my mind recently is last year we went on vacation. We had a lot of Coke Zero, and I feel like now whenever I have a Coke Zero, I feel like I'm on vacation.
That's nice.
Yeah.
All right. Next, what is probably your top pet peeve?
I thought about this one. I hate when people say that's above my pay grade. For some reason, I hate that phrase.
Is there a reason why you hate it?
I don't know. I feel like you're just like passing, not very helpful. Yeah, I just how that's phrased, I don't like it.
Man, I used that phrase yesterday.
Sorry, Lex.
In my defense, I was talking specifically to my husband about something completely unwork related, but I told him that that decision was above my pay grade and I wasn't going to make it.
I think you're talking to your husband is okay, but
All right. This one's a tough one. So if you had to sum it up in one sentence, what would be your best advice for other HOD members? That could be new members or existing members.
put yourself out there.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, might be awkward at first, but
that is super awesome. And as everybody knows, we've been talking about telling our story. So for the next couple of minutes, Tina, if you would just tell us your water story. Did you find water or did water find you?
Sure, yeah. So my dad's actually a civil engineer. He did stormwater stuff for a lot of my life, and I was not interested in it. It seems not fascinating. But then I went to school, and civil engineering made sense. And yeah, I just really liked water, wastewater. Now I do mostly wastewater, which is like the dirty version of stormwater even. But yeah, so it was like in my life, and then I kind of rediscovered it in college. And then I'm really happy with working in water, wastewater. And getting involved in my MA, a lot of people in my office were really, really involved. And we have a fairly small office. So it was a great way for me to meet new people and network outside my office. I work for Hazen & Sawyer. So we're a big company, but we have a really small office here in Birmingham. And so, yeah, and then getting involved more on like the WEF level, a couple years ago, Bill, actually, you're part of this story. WEFMAX in Charleston, they were like, YPs need to go. And so they just had me go. I didn't know what WEFMAX was. I didn't know anything. And I was like, yeah, I love Charleston. So I went, and it kind of blew my mind and opened my mind to WEF. And then when I came back, I was so rejuvenated, and I feel like I brought a lot of new ideas to my MA. And then I got more and more and more involved on the MA side. And then I feel like it was a butterfly effect to becoming delegate.
So Tina, I do recall that. And number one, that was probably the largest WEFMAX we've had in history, just saying, Charleston, South Carolina. But the YPs really brought it to the table in Charleston. And we appreciated your input there. And I think you speak very well. And we appreciate you doing that today. Lexi, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So now I'm going to double check. Kelsey, has Ian joined us?
No, I have not seen him on the call.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to move on to our budget committee update and let Doug take the floor.
Okay, thanks. This is Doug Pike, one of the Dougs. So according to the schedule, I have until 2 o'clock. So I guess I can take my time here and work our way through this committee. To date, the grant program in the first round, 8 MAs received awards that surprisingly totaled exactly half of the 125,000. Not quite sure how we worked that out, but so we've already committed 62,500 in the first round. The second round, we have 12 applications that total just about 93,000. So we're going to have to whittle down through that. Committee members are in the process now of scoring each of those applications. We will meet later this month then to pick the awardees and then hopefully get the notifications out as soon as we can after that. So Doug Kobrick and I met with the rest of the audit committee to review audit proposals. The committee, after a meeting with those who responded, sort of unanimously right off the bat, agreed on a firm, and we have submitted our recommendation to the WEF board. It will ultimately be their decision to select an auditor going forward. So that's all we've done.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Any questions for Doug? Okay. Hearing none, I'm going to invite Valerie to hop on and give an update on the DE&I committee.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? I am audible. Thank you. I saw the head nods. So we have a committee meeting, D&I committee meeting. That's this Friday. We have a few people out, so we might have to push that one back a week. During this call, during our next call, we're going to finalize activities for our next quarterly call. Based on discussions from the last two meetings we've had, we're going to focus this on really activities to make sure conferences are more inclusive, really focused on WEFTEC, as that's coming up here in a few months. Things that we can do as leaders within WEF to support folks who are new to the conference, new to WEF, just to make sure everyone feels welcome here. If you see someone that's kind of sitting around by themselves, you know, what can we do to make sure people are pulled into this WEF community? We've also talked a bit about the roles of delegates at large and how our committee specifically could support our delegates at large a little better. We'll follow up on any findings that we come up with there. Sorry, I have COVID, so bear with me. We're also compiling a list of DE&I spotlights. So each committee member for each community member is going to compile, 1 to 3 DE&I spotlights, focused on the ones that we've shared over the past year, but any new ones that come up, just so we have a repository of things to pull from, and that will be shared with the broader HOD community. And that was the last thing on my list here. I don't know if anyone else from the D&I community has something to share, but those are my updates. Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Peter and Christiana, water advocacy.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Not sure if Christiana's on, but I'll jump in and get the ball rolling here. Hi, everybody. Peter Garvey, co-chair of the Water Advocacy Committee. Couple of updates. We're active at each of the WEFMAXs during the year so far, providing updates on committee activities, sharing a detailed presentation on the National Water Policy Fly-In, the DC Fly-In, and then in two of the WEFMAXs, Alexandria and Park City, at least, we had a really valuable tabletop exercise on the fly-in, getting the participants kind of talking about and understanding the purpose and the logistics of the fly-in. And we also had a survey that came from that, and we have about 60 responses to that survey, which have now been collated, and we're now ready to start doing a bit of research and analysis on the data we got from the survey. So looking forward to seeing that some trends and information and topics that we can use to be better and bolder going forward. We're also planning for WEFTEC. We've talked about WEFTEC a few times here already. Christiana and I will be presenting on the Water Advocacy Program. I'm also going to be facilitating a session on the same topic. We're also pushing to get continuity slides that highlight the QR code and links for the Water Advocates Program, as well as a save the date for the 2025 fly-in. Yes, it's coming, so get ready. So we're looking to get the word out more at WEFTEC, and get the word out, looking to be bolder and communicate more about advocacy in general, about the fly-in, so that people get more and more comfortable with it and hear about it as much as they can. So other than that, work on the committee charter continues with each of the different members. And there were a couple of items I wanted to update. Christiane, if you're on and you wanted to jump in, please do.
I'm good, but thanks, Peter. That was great.
All right.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Any questions for Peter?
And we're now over, I think we're about 1,020, maybe a little over 1,020 water advocate folks signed up at this point. So we blasted through 1,000 at Alexandria, and the work keeps going.
That's
so thanks
awesome,
for everybody
Peter.
for your support on that.
Hey, Peter, are you going to wear like a signature color next year? I'm curious.
Yeah, we at the fly-in we saw different stakeholders pushing or communicating their agenda in Capitol Hill, and they had color coding associated with their topic. So it's something to think about.
All right. Any other questions? Awesome. I am going to now, I just heard that Ian has joined us. So I was going to let him jump in and give the CLC update.
Thank you. Apologies for being late. I've got lots of meetings back to back today and trying to run around to everything. So thanks for letting me jump in here. Yeah, things are moving along nicely over at the CLC. We're excited. Feels like we're definitely trying to get more involved and integrated with the HOD and collaborate together. We're excited. In fact, we had a meeting this morning talking about our joint activity that we will be doing at WEFTEC this year on Sunday. So we look forward to hopefully having many of you participate in that along with the CLC members. We will be discussing, I don't know if it was brought up by Alexi or anyone else, but we will be basically kind of talking about specialty conferences and workshopping, how we can work with local MAs and things to help support the initiatives that WEF wants to do as far as combining different and doing some workshopping some smaller specialty conferences and things. So we're excited about a good working activity together at WEFTEC in New Orleans. Aside from that, we also some other things that have been happening. We are our training modules, and Bill got a peek of this at our all hands meeting yesterday. But we've got some good training material that goes over all of the WEF organization and how it works and fits together, and including the CLC and the HOD and all of that. It's being finalized by WEF staff, and that will become available for any volunteer and volunteer leaders. And so we'll make that accessible to you, to all of you as well, and can be a great resource for training both at the HOD and at the MA level. Aside from that, just kind of other standard stuff on our side, just ongoing succession planning for incoming chairs and vice chairs as others roll off at WEFTEC. We've got a few new communities that we are discussing and evaluating. One is a microplastics and emerging contaminants of concern type of a community that will include potentially PFAS as part of that umbrella. So we're trying to find a good home for that type of a community, as well as on energy management. So we're discussing some of those possible new communities, as well as developing resources to help evaluate and get performance metrics for the communities to make sure they're healthy and in alignment with WEF strategic plans and initiatives. And so all of that is coming along nicely, and we're trying to integrate that into WEF Unity and making that a simple single place for the board and others to go and see the progress that each community is making. So that's kind of a quick update. Other than that, just WEFTEC planning and getting ready for that. It's still several months away, but it's going to come up quicker than we all realize. So that's my quick CLC update.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions for Ian? All right, Mark?
Yeah, Ian, thank you for the update. I'm curious, have you guys thought about for special issues that come up or things that are different, have you thought about establishing perhaps more of a short-term type of approach instead of establishing community, which seems to be a bit more of a long-term ongoing thing that has to be maintained, and then you've got all these lines crossing and those sorts of things. And so I was just wondering if if perhaps an approach, and you've probably already considered this, but perhaps an approach might be to put an ad hoc group together for a little while and have them kind of sort it out. It's similar to what I think the DE&I was established that way, and then it went on to become a regular standing group. So just curious if you all had looked at that.
Yeah, you're spot on. We actually have two other types of groups. One are called task forces and one are called accelerators. And they're basically exactly what you're referring to. They're assembled for short periods of time. Accelerators are usually about a year. Task forces are can be up to 1 to 2 years, but they're focused on a very specific hot topic or something that may not have a lot of longevity, but it needs some addressing immediately. And then some of those, so these new communities we're evaluating are some of those task forces and accelerators that are looking to maybe move to that next stage of we feel like they have a viable long-term ability to be sustainable as a community. So you're spot on. We do have those types of organizations that help us deal with those smaller ad hoc needs, and then they either fade out or if it becomes something bigger, like you mentioned the DE&I example, then they can transition into a full community.
Great, thank you. That's really good to hear, because there's always a lot of maintenance, to keeping things going, and you can certainly see like PFAS and contaminants, CECs could certainly cross into a lot of different communities.
Yep, and that's the other thing we're trying to figure out how to best address, right? Is some of these cross-topic that covers a lot of different communities and how we deal with and address that. So it's certainly it's a challenge to figure that out, but we're continually trying to refine that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Looks like Keith has his hand up.
Yep, Keith, you're up.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Ian, I know that you've kind of investigated, along with staff, organization of our specialty conferences and things. Do you want to comment a little bit about that, or any feedback that you've gotten regarding those going forward?
So we're still kind of really early in those discussions, and so I think that's part of why we want to do this joint activity with HOD at WEFTEC. Certainly, John Akita has come in with some of their ideas for how to integrate some of these specialty conferences and get some synergies. And so we're still early on those discussions. So I don't know that I have a whole lot to report on specifically, other than, it's definitely an emerging topic of importance, and is something that we are trying to dig into and figure out how we can best support that initiative that's coming from WEF. Was there something specific, Keith, that you wanted me to, or does that address your question?
No, that's good. Thanks. I just know it was in the works, and I appreciate comments.
Yeah, no, good reminder. Thank you. Okay, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ian. Okay, moving on through our agenda. I'm going to invite Laura Joe to talk about the Communications Committee.
All right. So the Communications Committee, I think most of you realize, is a new committee this year. And so we have been focused on kind of establishing the communications that are already there and better developing those. So our focus has been mostly on the LinkedIn and WEF Unity. So WEF Unity, we are trying to update it such that it is a repository for information related to the House of Delegate work groups, not just the current ones, but the historic work groups as well. So you can go in there and see what was produced in prior years and who was on the work groups in prior years, that sort of thing. We're also working with Kelsey and WEF folks to get a little bit more use potentially out of it. So the communications committee did support the nominations committee this year. And one of the things we did was we posted on WEF Unity and I sent out like an announcement through WEF Unity, but I think the only people who received it were folks that signed into WEF Unity. So seeing if there's a way to have some sort of email go out to folks when something is posted on WEF Unity, and just maybe try to figure out a better way to use and engage that existing resource. We also have, thank you, Mandy, LinkedIn, which if you're not on the HOD LinkedIn, please let Bill Davis or myself know so we can make sure you're on there. It should be all the current HOD, and I think most of the past HOD members are also probably on there since that's been established. That is a point where I think a lot of folks use LinkedIn, so we're trying to utilize that platform as well. Try to lessen the burden of emails. You'll continue to get communications, obviously, through Diane and Kelsey related to HOD things, but this is just another way to communicate, especially with everyone being so busy. It's just another resource available to us. So if you have any questions or comments on that, please let me know or the committee know, and we can help support future information that needs to get out to folks. So we'll continue to develop and use LinkedIn and WEF Unity in addition to the our traditional email communications, and I believe the goal is just to keep developing those. There's also a resource that's been developed and will probably be continued to use, hopefully, that we did for, it's kind of a graphic with just like the different committee and work group updates to be shared with MAs going forward. So our committee will continue to work with Alexi and Kelsey and Bill to continue development of that and try to integrate it into the communications as well. So I think that's about it. So if anyone has any questions for me or the committee, just let me know. Again, if you have something that you want to distribute, I know there's a committee, at least one committee that has a completed work product that we will be working on getting out to folks here soon. That's for you, Mike, if you're on. So that's it.
Any questions for Laura Jo? Okay, thank you so much. Now, Lee Thomas with our WEF Committee update.
Hey, everybody. So this will be brief. We had 3 amazing WEF events this year. Alexandria, Virginia had an attendance of 59. Park City, Utah, record attendance, 71. And St. Petersburg, Florida, according to this list, about 61. So all were very well attended and very well received. We're taking all of that and putting it together to highlight the key points of each one of those WEFMAXs and our virtual WEFMAX, which I put the link in the chat to register. Registration is now open. It's been open for about a week or so. As Alexi mentioned earlier, August 1st from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern, we are preparing all of our final agenda and presentations. We do have a draft agenda out. We're going to do a recap for like the first hour from, what we learned in Alexandria, what we learned in Utah, and what we learned in St. Petersburg, with some discussions in each one of those areas and from each one of the WEFMAXs that were held. And then we're going to spend some time doing some breakout sessions where we're going to get input from the participants on driving collaboration and engagement, putting the we in WEF, investing in the potential of your membership and leadership of the future. We have identified facilitators and scribes for each, and then we'll come back together and do a report out and wrap it up. So it'll be a quick 2 hour of, if anybody doesn't ever get to attend a WebMax in person, virtual WebMax is the best way to really get a taste of that. See what you're missing, and hopefully encourage more participation even next year. We do have dates set for the WEFMAX events in 2025 in Oklahoma, and our Alexi is very instrumental in that. Surprise, right? April 2nd to the 4th, and then New England, Salem, Massachusetts, right? All the history there should be really interesting. I'm looking forward to that. April 30th to May 2nd. And then in California, they have not determined a final location. They're tossing around some ideas, but the dates have been set for June 4th to 6th. Keep a lookout for that. Those registrations will open soon. Diane Crilly is doing an amazing job and coordinating with us on that for next year. So that's our update. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Lee? Okay, who's going to come to Oklahoma next year? Come on, guys.
I'll be there.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to a tour. I've never been to Oklahoma.
Oh, it's awesome. It's going to be so much fun.
Can't wait.
It's going to be a really great WEFMAX, but they're all amazing events. So I definitely encourage you to consider where you would like to go next year and attend one of them. They are by far my favorite events that we get to attend throughout the year.
And stay tuned, there will be scholarship opportunities. So stay tuned for that.
Yes.
I'm just going to give a thumbs up for the Oklahoma City location. Was just there for the RBC conference. It was an amazing venue. So look forward to Oklahoma City again.
Awesome. Thank you.
Alexi, if I get the hospitality that I got for OWA, I will be there whether it's on my own or not. So thumbs up for Oklahoma.
Well, great. Thank you. I appreciate this, everyone. So yeah, again, lots of awesome opportunities to network and collaborate and get to meet everyone coming up in the next year. So definitely keep that all in mind while you guys are planning your travels. So next, Mandy with the nominating committee update.
Hi, everybody. I am working with can everyone hear me okay? Great, thanks. I see Laura Jo nodding. I'll go for that. So I'm working on like the computer visual and the cell phone audio because my teams also doesn't like the new teams. But yeah, very happy to be representing the nominations committee once again. I don't know how many more meetings we have before WEFTEC, but I roll off of my delegacy this year. So this is like one of my last updates that I get to share. But I'm really super proud of the work that the nominations committee has done in the last year. We spent a lot of time focusing on application recruitment. This year, we've got 2 new committees, the communications and the advocacy committees. So there's more committee applications needed to fill all the spots available for that. And that's why we had a lot of participation and coordination with the communications team and Laura Jo. We also worked a lot with Mike Welke on the delegate onboarding to help make sure that we've got some delegate at large inflow channels improved. And then also with the delegate at large work group to make sure that we've got the right number of delegate at large positions open. So I'm happy to share that the application period, closed on June 30th. We've received 4 delegate at large applications, 30 committee applications, 3 speaker-elect applications. And then this one's a little bit of a stinker. The WEF nominating committee is an every other year committee application. So that one's a little bit interesting since it's off cycle. We got 4 exceptional candidates for that position as well. So we've got really great people that have put in their names to be involved in the House of Delegates committees for 2024-25. The work is on the work group right now to make selections, to get people sitting in the right positions, and of course to make sure that we make recommendations to the leadership committee at the end of July. So that's really our goal. Applications are open, or I'm sorry, the application review period started as of the 2nd, and we've got our sleeves rolled up, and we're working on getting those applications reviewed. I will mention too that there's been a lot of communication within the work group committee about the process for vice chairs to become chairs, the process for electing a chair for each of the committees. It's come to our attention that a lot of the committees have a process and procedure listed in the bylaws, and that some do not. So it leaves some flexibility, but we've got the question kind of outstanding on whether that should be streamlined, or if we should, to have a significant process in place, or a streamlined process in place among all the committees, or if we just kind of leave that to the committees to determine themselves. That being said, there's also the open item of the delegate at large constituency, and kind of the number of delegates that are, the number of positions that are available. That's been 12, so 3 per year for years now. And I think the question still remains, is that the right number? Is it arbitrary? Should we consider, moving that up? So this year we had 4 applications. It's a perfect fit. But I think we're constantly kind of toying around with that. So while we've got time as a deliberative authority here, if anyone has strong feelings or opinions, we'd definitely like to hear them, and want to take into account, kind of the broader question here of whether we're serving the House of Delegates with the right group of people, the right timing, the right number. So that's hanging out there. But otherwise, we look forward to getting back the recommendations to the House of Delegates in the next month or so here. And again, very appreciative of everyone's applications and everyone's attention on the nominations process. Thank you.
Hey, Bill, you have your hand up.
Oh, I see Bill's hands up. Bill, do you have a
Hey,
question?
just two things really quick. Number one, even if you're on a committee and you're a vice chair, always remember you still need to apply unless we change the rules. So you still need to apply, but it would maybe be up to that committee as to who was the chair or vice chair. Secondly, with all of the committees that we have and all the members that we elect each year, I think I calculated 40 open positions. So we had 30 people apply. So people are going to be doing double duty because we've got 100 delegates and we only had 30 apply for things. So if you've not applied and you're scared to, step out there in the water, again, I encourage you to take the leap. And like Tina said earlier, put yourself out there. So next year, I expect a lot more people to apply. We are not happy with all the people that have not applied. We want more people to apply. There are more positions out there. So that's all I got to say.
Thanks, Phil.
Right. Go ahead, Mandy.
Oh, just said thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Mandy? All right. We are rocking along. You guys are a quiet bunch today. So
I see a question from Amy Baker on if there's a chance for extension on applications. I think we can look at that. If we haven't heard, I haven't heard from people that are asking for one. So Amy, I don't know my lane and my authority to grant those, but definitely would entertain it. So so ping me on the side if you want to, if there's specific questions, but otherwise, yeah, I think we're definitely open. Our review meeting is on the 22nd. So we've got a little window in the short term. Thanks, guys.
All right, Valerie, your hand's up.
I would just send out another reminder to folks. I know I missed the deadline last year and didn't realize it. So for those who actually do want to volunteer and it just slipped their inbox, it would be helpful so we can fill out all those roles.
Thanks, Valerie. I think that's a great suggestion. We did, and you know, luckily for the team that's in place, we did have a lot of support to get a couple of reminders out ahead of time, but it couldn't hurt. Absolutely. I think it's a great idea.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Now, our emerging leaders work group updates.
Yes, this is Haley. I was going to provide the update. So we have been working along, kicked off in April. Our main task has been to kind of develop some surveys or polls to build off of results from a former work group on emerging leaders that happened back in 2021, 2022. So what's important for you guys all to know is we will be sending out 2 surveys. One is meant to be sent out to as broad of an audience as possible. So we can poll general WEF or MA members to get feedback based on kind of how do we define an emerging leader, kind of what their experience has been, and kind of what opportunities are available through MAs specifically. So that's kind of going to be sent out, and we could use your guys' help to kind of help us distribute that to as many people as we can to kind of get that feedback. The second survey, and that one will probably come out first in the next week. The second survey is going to be for delegates only to fill out and provide answers based on your experience with, you know, whether it's your experience directly or just kind of what you've observed being an emerging leader within the House of Delegates. But then we also are going to collect kind of feedback based on existing programs or initiatives in your MA. And so we're going to gather that data from both those surveys and kind of compile it into our recommendations and kind of next steps for leadership and the strategic plan work group as well. So keep an eye out for those 2 surveys. Tina and I are available to answer any questions once those go out. And our work group will be following up with people individually with the list of delegates to try to make sure we get information on all the MAs through the House delegates. Tina, do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's good. Thanks, Haley.
Thanks all.
All right, any questions for Haley? Okay. And Kelsey, I'm going to let you jump in. I can see you typing in the chat.
Yes. So Amy Baker asked if we could have an extension on the applications for the committees. And so I initially thought she meant for herself, but I don't think she did. I think she just meant in general. So what I was saying is that if anyone is interested, please go ahead and reach out to me, and we can find a place to get you involved in the committees. So the deadline, so if you go to the open water application, it's closed. You won't be able to submit an application that way anymore. But please reach out to me, and I can get your information, connect you with Mandy, and we can certainly plug you in on one of the committees, because we do still need a few warm bodies to slot into those positions.
Thank you, Kelsey. That is what I meant. It wasn't for me.
Yes, I realized that after I said that. I was like, yeah, I had a moment. But yeah, thank you for that question, Amy.
All right.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, that you guys just heard it straight from Kelsey. If you want to be on a committee but did not fill out an application, please reach out to her ASAP. We will be all getting together in the next couple weeks to fill out the committees and place people. So go ahead and get with her. Alternatively, feel free to reach out to myself or Bill as well. Okay, any questions for Haley? Last chance. Okay. Now I'm going to hand it over to Scott for the Delegate at Large work group update.
Thank you, Alexi. And I don't want to embarrass him, but I wanted to reach out and shout out to Lance. Haven't seen you in a while, my friend. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in the HOD. So that's many years ago. So Lance, it's good to see you again. So not to embarrass you. My co-chair couldn't be here due to her day job, so it falls on me to be solo. We had a really good meeting last month on our Delegate at Large, and if you notice, there's a theme in a couple of report outs of delegates at large, from Valerie to other individuals. And so we're in the process of getting our deliverables ready and getting ideas to present to the leadership of HOD. And I didn't realize that we didn't have a meeting scheduled for July, which I'll get with Kelsey for the work group, either last part of July or 1st of August to finalize our deliverables. But we have a PowerPoint. We're going to get everything together. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that that our charter was to make recommendations of the delegates at large for the leadership, and then continue this maybe into next year. Because one of the themes that has filtered through our discussions, and I hear everybody else is 12 the right number. I keep on hearing that. We hear that. So that's something that we're making a recommendation to look at. So there's different things that we're doing. And Valerie, if I could beg you to, if you have some suggestions for delegates at large as you discussed, please send them to Cam, Law, or myself so we can get those into the deliverables. But for right now, we're just in that process of getting everything tied up and hopefully finished by August to have our deliverables. So that's about all I have. Anybody have any questions? Bill?
Of course I have a question.
I knew I couldn't get loose without you having a question.
So Scott Foley, my brother from another.
Yes.
Look, we need more interaction with the delegates at large, because the delegates at large, like I said in the chat, rock the House, the House of Delegates, that is.
Yeah.
So how about consideration of a quarterly meeting, say next year, maybe?
Stop right there. You're going to spoil everything. We already we got those kind of things listed. So
okay.
Hey, we're ahead of you.
I love it. That's awesome, man.
But no, I'm just teasing you, Bill, but we are looking at having some type of quarterly or monthly meeting with the delegates at large recommendation, because we're a special group. If you look on this agenda Lexi's made, how many people are participating as delegate at large? I mean, there's a lot of people. Not saying that the regular delegates at MA are not, but we chose to be here. And so we do some of the heavy lifting, but that's one of them. So I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but that's one of the topics, one of the recommendations. And
well, it's similar to DE&I. I mean, DE&I does quarterly meetings, so it'll be similar.
Right, and it'd be a way to get everybody, all the delegates at large together to, see what similar problems they're having, what their constituency is doing. We're looking at constituency. How do we communicate where, Laura Joe's committee we're looking at could be, springboard to communicate. There's all kinds of things here that we're considering. So I hope everybody's surprised and will be excited about some of the recommendations we're making that will come out, and that the leadership, which I guess for next year will be you, Bill, that will take and see. And I'm on politic right now that we think that this group could go one more year or a half year to get a little bit more, because this is a recommendation committee and we're looking at solutions maybe next time, remedies. So that's kind of where we're at. We're excited. Also, anybody that's on this call that's in our work group, don't forget your homework. This is a good platform to remind everybody that even though I don't have a meeting scheduled, but hopefully next 2 or 3 weeks, you have the information that we gave out last month. If your ideas, Lee has given us some good ideas to Cam and I. So remember your homework. Look at some of these ideas that we presented last meeting and, enhance them, add your stuff, so on. So that's all I'm going to go.
Lance, I see your hand is up.
Yes.
Yeah, just have to make the comment to Scott. Thank you. I'm all about recycle because I guess they recycle me back in delegate. And I was a delegate at large, but I like the point that you're bringing up, because I think when I was a delegate at large, I kind of wasn't sure like what your role is. I mean, I knew as a House of Delegates because I already was a delegate, so I knew how to participate. But the delegate at large is a very different position that I think, that's good if you guys do something like that.
Oh, yes.
Because now I figure out now that as time goes on, I was a delegate at large. Now I'm just a large delegate as I get old. I'm just becoming a large delegate. Great to see you.
Thanks, Lance. And Kyra makes a point, and this is one of the things that we've talked about in discussions, is not every delegate at large is attached to MA. we forget that, you know, because I'm fortunate and some other people's fortunate that we are integrated into our MA. Like right now, Jeff Clark can't make it, so I'm kind of, you know, writing notes down for him, and so they lean on me. But not every delegate at large has that ability to lock into a MA, so that's important too, because we want to keep our identity, but yet we don't want to get sucked into the MA. So it's a balancing act. So you're right. A lot of people don't know what DALs do. So hopefully we can start that conversation and resolve it. So that's enough time. As Bill says, I've never met a room or Mike I haven't liked. So I'm going to get off because I don't want me be the excuse for running over. So Alexa, you got the floor.
Oh, we have all the time, Scott.
No, you don't do that to me.
Any
But
other questions for Scott? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Carol, you are up for workforce development. Okay.
This is Amy. So I saw an email come in from Carol that she, since it was so late in the meeting, I don't think she was able to join in. So she gave a little sum up I can add.
Go for it.
So the workforce development work group, as we've mentioned before, we collected survey results from a bunch of MAs. We collected a lot of different information from different people in MAs, and we're now combing through them all and putting them into the 3 different sections for a toolkit, which would be recruitment, retention, training, and then with considerations in different types of careers, operators, engineers, regulatory lab, etc. We're also working on developing a framework and distribution for the information. So we're moving. We did a lot of the gathering of information, and we're just now able to use our creative side to start to put the toolkit together. So it's kind of an exciting piece for us right now.
Great. Any questions for Amy? Okay. And then the HOD strategic plan work group update. Scott and Lee.
Yeah, this is Scott. So we took back all the information from the WEFMAX engagement. Appreciate everybody joining us for the boards and the activities there and the feedback. So what we did is we took all that information and we put it into like a number of keywords, connector, and what we believe is the House of Delegates, and what we can have for our mission, vision, values. We've kind of kept those the same, but now we're really transitioning the information more into the goal setting. We've been attending a couple of the other work group meetings, and one of the requests that we would have for the work groups, if there's elements that you feel that could be included in the strategic plan for the next 1 to 3 years, please let us know by the end of July, as well as any of the committees that you would be part of. We can't attend every outreach activity, but we are trying to capture as much as we can by the end of July, and then we can take the month of August early into September to try and capture all of the strategic plan elements that need to be captured, and then report that out at WEFTEC. So kind of in that spot where we continue to grow the items, and then the last couple of months we'll be drafting everything together and for that report out at WEFTEC.
Okay, wonderful. Lee, do you have anything to add?
I think she had to drop off at 1.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Scott. Any questions for Scott? Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. And now I will open the floor for open discussion. If you guys have any questions or any topics you'd like to discuss real quick, go ahead and raise your hand and we can do that. This is kind of your public forum. Lance, go ahead.
Hey, Alexi, you know, I got involved with the working group for the leadership development at the St. Petersburg WEFMAC. Do I still need to do a forum thing to join the committee? We do. Okay, because I don't think I did it formally because I just went to that WEFMAX and I had realized that they had all the committees. Like, okay, I want to do this one, but I just went to it. So okay, I'll go ahead and do that then.
Yeah, for this upcoming year in particular. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep. Just go ahead and reach out to Kelsey. We got you, Lance. Peter, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Alexi. Just wondering, is there an agenda information for the House of Delegates activities at Saturday, Sunday before WEFTEC at this point?
So yes, generically, I would say yes. So, and Kelsey, jump in, please, and Bill, jump in too. We will have our House of Delegates meeting on that Saturday. As always, it'll start off with some sort of breakfast and some sort of panel or discussion or activity during breakfast. Then we'll move into our meeting that lasts generally until early afternoon. At that point, we will have breakout sessions for the upcoming work groups and committees to all get together. We will also be having a joint volunteer activity with the CLC where we are going to be packing laundry kits for the Ronald McDonald House. The goal, get ready for this, is for the House of Delegates to pack 1,500 of these. I'm pretty sure we packed like 500 food kits last year in like 20 minutes. So I'm pretty sure we can pack 1,500 laundry kits pretty quickly. That's a joint effort with the CLC. Then later that on Saturday evening, typically I think it starts about 6, is the leaders reception that takes place at the hotel. And then Sunday we'll start off the day with the MA Leaders Forum. And then Kelsey, you're gonna have to tell me the time. I can't remember the time. For
the joint activity?
Yeah.
Hold on a minute because I wrote it down here.
Okay.
We will have hold on. You can keep talking.
Okay. We will be having a joint activity on Sunday with the CLC that will last for about an hour and a half. And the intent for that joint activity is to develop and brainstorm ideas for specialty conferences that the MAs can help host and, bring into the MA and everything. So the MA and the CLC can work together to kind of form these ideas for specialty conferences and workshops. This is a new kind of endeavor that WEF is taking on. And so they really want to, provide, exposure to our MAs and also allow our MAs to become more integrated into WEF on the community side. So we're kind of hoping that this bridges that gap. So we're going to have an activity that, we'll brainstorm that idea. It will be an activity. So there will be getting up, moving around, presentations, all the funness of it. So I definitely encourage everyone to attend that.
And that will be from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Central Time is the joint activity on Sunday.
Okay. That's what I thought, but thank you for clarifying that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I believe you guys will be free. When is the WEFMAX meeting, Kelsey?
Good question. I am not 100% sure.
Okay, I haven't received the final kind of agenda, so I'm not 100% sure, but that would really be, I think, the only other outlying thing that the House of Delegates will be involved in, and then you guys are free to enjoy the conference. I hope that was clear as mud for you, Peter. Sorry.
Can I add a follow-up question on that?
Sure.
So we as I recall, back towards the end of last year, we had there was some onboarding activities and ideas, and are those the outcomes of that? I think it was a work group getting folded into, like, for example, I assume Kelsey is sending out invites to the 30 new delegates soon, and we got 4 new delegates at large. Is that all? So some of that getting implemented, and I guess along with that, some of the great ideas that were implemented at WEFMAX, mentoring, name badges with delegate at large constituents. It's, there was quite a few enhancements, I think, that have evolved over the past couple of years that I'm just curious about if they're going to be pushed into a Saturday, Sunday WEFTEC.
Yes, that is the intent. I think we would like to have a new WEFTEC, kind of like how we do the WEFMAX, where we pair like someone who's been seasoned with someone who's new. Mentoring thing, we want to try to do that. And then, of course, the onboarding and orientation, we will have a meeting for that too. Kelsey, Bill, and I are working on getting all that scheduled. So yes, we are going to be implementing all that.
Great, thank you.
Tina.
I have just wanted to share something with the delegates. It's not like logistic related, so I can wait, but
no, share. This is open forum.
So I just got back from Scotland, and we were watching just TV there, and they had a commercial about their tap water. And it was very cool, and it made me like get up and drink their tap water because it was like so inspiring. But I'll put it in the chat. I thought it was really cool, and I hadn't ever seen that before. But yeah, it was just on their national commercial TV.
Okay, great. That sounds really cool. Throw that in the chat for sure. I'm looking in the chat right now, actually, and I am seeing the WhatsApp. Now that is something that, good call, Bill, on kind of bringing that up in the chat. We will have the WhatsApp again for WEFTEC. I know we utilize it quite a bit for WEFMAX, and we implemented it last year for WEFTEC, and I thought it worked out really well. So there'll be a House of Delegates WhatsApp that we will put together for WEFTEC, allow everyone to communicate better with each other, get together for dinner, drinks, all the fun stuff that happens at WEFTEC, in addition to giving you guys updates on anything that you all will need to know. So keep an eye out for that as well. Any other comments, questions? Okay, well, hearing none, I appreciate everyone's time today. And I will see all of your smiling faces bright and early Saturday at WEFTEC. Oh, Laura.
Sorry, I was unmuted and I like snickered. Yeah, you're welcome.
You definitely did.
Thanks for everything.
All right,
Thanks.
thank
Talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Bye. Everybody be
Bye.
safe. Bye.
Bye, everybody.